What is up, ladies and gentle nerds? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we are looking at a random magic card. Okay, I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna go ahead and click that random. And actually, you know what? Here, for those of you on the YouTube, so right now, as you'll notice, we have a lovely starry background that I've enjoyed very much. Because if you're not familiar, 42 is actually a reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. And so I figured, hey, let's throw in some space, right? Because let's explore the galaxy together. Um, and so that's the background. But you'll notice that like I bring the card in. Now you'll notice that Soul Gorger Org is here right now because that's the card that we looked at last time. What I'm doing there is this is actually a screen cap that is cropped down to just the section of Gatherer that shows the card. So I'm gonna go ahead and click random card right here, and you guys can even watch this sucker load, which I usually set aside um, specifically for uh, because it just isn't pretty. That's really the bottom line. All right, and actually, it's interesting. We actually just hit a duplicate. So this card is it's called Mystic Compass, which I believe was episode 3, 4. It was a really early one, and I don't know. It's interesting. You can go back and check that out, but to be honest, I found it was tough to fill 10 minutes back then on this, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving. Let's go ahead and check one more time. Let's see another random card. What do we get? Oh, oh my. Okay, so this is interesting. So this one, to be completely honest, I am looking at the card itself, and I'm having a heck of a time reading it because it's not written in English. And I don't mean that literally. It's supposed to be written in English, but in a font that resembles hieroglyphs, because this is the Amonkhet Invocation version of Austere Command. Now, this is these cards are interesting. Now, if you're seeing this again on YouTube, this is the card that I'm showing. If you just look up Austere Command, there are a lot of different versions that you'll find. Most of them, if we look back at the original, they have kind of this mystical thing going on. It's the magic card. It looks like a magic card. But in Amonkhet, they came out with a series called Invocations. And if you're wondering, hey, what's an invocation? It's what the showcase cards are now, except they were released in a different way. And I'm sure newer players are like, oh, these are what you got in the Amonkhet collector boosters. No, they are not what you got in the Amonkhet collector boosters. These were in all of the Amonkhet boosters. They were just in not all of them. They were lottery cards that you could hit in certain packs. So this particular card, so like Austere Command, it was actually not part of Amonkhet. It wasn't in the series. It wasn't a legal card in that set. This was not standard legal. But if you bought a booster pack of Amonkhet, there was a chance that tucked in there, like a little Willy Wonka style golden ticket, would be this card. And this particular card is custom designed so that it looks like if Austere Command was part of the Amonkhet world. And what I mean by that is the card frame, the text, the font, everything about this card is designed to look like it belongs on Amonkhet, which of course means that it looks like it's designed to fit in ancient Egypt. I mean, even the border itself, I mean, every single part of this card is designed to fit into that world. So the border, if you look at it, it has, so on the top here, it actually has the words Austere Command in like font that is designed to resemble hieroglyphics. And you can see the 4 generic 2 white pips of the 6 converted mana cost of Austere Command. Okay, and then you have Oketra, I believe that's Oketra, in the middle, which is she's the white god, so that fits, that makes sense. And she's just standing, kind of looking proud and super cool with her bow, just ready to mess people up. And there's also the border of the card is not anything like we've seen before, and it actually shows pillars that again look like they're the entryway to some kind of Egyptian palace. In the middle, down at on the type line, there are a handful of genuine hieroglyphs that are supposed to be just symbols that are meaningless. And in the middle, there's the word sorcery. So you gotta have to look for it. It's kind of buried in there. And then, well, yeah, so it's just kind of tucked away. And then what? So in the end, what the heck is Austere Command? Austere Command is a modal spell, and so the fact that that is part of so the fact that they picked this card to be the to be one of the invocations on a weird frame that is designed to be artistic, first and foremost, is problematic for a number of reasons. So there are a number of cards throughout the history of the game that have received the full art treatment, where there is not a single piece of text on the whole card. So the basic lands have gotten these all over the place, because if you don't know what a forest is, well, actually, even the basic forests don't have any text on them. They just have the basic lands just have the big mana symbol in the text box, because they just expect you to know how it works, because it's a cornerstone of the game. It is so routine that they don't need to put text on it. So yeah, of course, blow the land up, make a beautiful image across the whole card face, and let that be our lands. Makes perfect sense. Um, there are other cards that have gotten it where they're really iconic cards, where an artist will do something really cool, and it's generally speaking, those cards are so common, so well known, that it's reasonable to assume that the players know what the card does. Those are cards like Lightning Bolt, like Disenchant, like Counterspell, like some of the most or Demonic Tutor, those kinds of things that have just been around for a really long time and are just very iconic. You often get the full art treatment. Now they have gotten a couple that are kind of weird, like Cryptic Command got full art, which is bizarre because you have a lot of text on it, and that's kind of fitting that that card should come up in my little stream of consciousness rant at the same time that we're looking at Austere Command, because it's a very similar situation. Now, the difference is with the Austere Command from the Amonkhet Invocations, you do still have the text on the card. It's difficult to read, but it's there. Whereas in the full art treatment, so if you got a full art Cryptic Command and you didn't know what Cryptic Command did, well, you better have your phone handy, because otherwise you're just kind of out of luck. And a lot of people know Cryptic Command. It's a very popular spell. It's a very common counter spell, but it's in a lot of different formats. But at the same time, not everybody knows it, and it has, like, I think 4 different modes. So like you're supposed to just memorize all 4 modes. And a lot of players who've been playing at a competitive level with that spell, sure, they know them, but regular, Joe Booster Pack has no freaking clue what that is. So anyway, so Austere Command here is an interesting choice for the Amonkhet Invocation, because it does have a number of different modes, and you get to pick 2 of them. So when you cast this, you get 2 of these effects, and you get to pick whichever ones they are. So 1, destroy all artifacts. Just completely wipe the board clean of artifacts. That's pretty cool. Destroy all enchantments. That's also freaking cool. Destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So, for those of you playing at home, for those of you paying attention, that means basically destroy all artifacts, or destroy all enchantments, or destroy all weenies, or destroy all fatties, and pick 2 of them. Now, you can pick all fatties and all weenies, which just means all creatures. That's an option. You can just go Wrath of God on this, but you could also lean into the artifact or enchantment modes, depending on whatever your opponent's running. Whatever your opponent's biggest threat is, this can destroy it, along with a lot of other things that are out there on the board. So as far as board wipes go, this thing's pretty great. It is what Cryptic Command is to the blue counter spell and draw cards, Austere Command is to the white board wipe. It is every single mode at a slightly increased. It is every board wipe you want at a slightly increased rate, and you get 2 of them at once. So, I mean, that's pretty great. It's good. I don't know what else to say. It's a good card, but the particular invocation is a little problematic because it's difficult to read. The list is also center justified, which makes it kind of awkward. And actually, the biggest issue with this particular frame, now, the frame is artistic, it is unique. I can actually really appreciate that. And this actually, I gotta say, a lot of the invocations, one of the issues with the invocation, there are a couple of issues with the frame that cause them to be difficult to read, or where people wouldn't necessarily assume that they're magic cards even. And part of the issue is the artwork is actually significantly smaller. The actual piece of art that was commissioned as the centerpiece for the card is smaller than on a traditional magic card. And you'll notice, actually, if you grab some older cards, if you grab anything with like pre-8th edition, or actually there's another, I think it was pre-Origins. I think Origins, they mixed the frame up a little bit. If you see anything past that, the art is actually bigger. Like even on just the basic cards, it is slightly bigger. Like they've they understand that that is the the centerpiece, the focal point that really makes the card what the card is. It brings out the flavor, and really, for a lot of people, it really brings out the fun. Like that's really where the fun stuff happens, isn't that art? I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm at the table, I'm not reading the card names. I'm looking at the art. And so even from a functional perspective, just seeing the artwork, you have the association. Oh, I know what that does because you see the art, you know the effect, you know how the game plays out. Nobody reads the freaking card after they've read it the first time or the fifth time or whatever. Like once you get familiar with the card, all you see is the art, and the art is really the centerpiece, and that's what makes that sing. So the fact that for the invocations, the art has actually shrank a little bit. It's actually smaller because they wanted to really show off the frame, which makes sense. Like logically, I can understand where they're coming from. They designed this really fancy frame and they want to show it off. Okay, that's fine. But at the same time, you still did commission a really talented artist to put a piece of art inside of that frame. And so having the frame overshadow the art is kind of a bummer. But that's actually one big kudos that I want to give. For this particular card, because one of the things that I was about to say is that the art is kind of lackluster. Like you see Oketra, she's being Oketra, and she's just kind of standing, looking noble with some corpuscular rays coming down on her. Look it up; it's a great word. And she's just kind of standing there, just being a god. She's just being an Amonkhet god, just hanging out, and that's it. That's like there's a little bit of action going on in the foreground and the background, like just to give a little bit of context, and a slight sense of scale, I guess. Like she looks big, like okay, cool, but you don't really get much else. Like she's just kind of there, just being a god. And actually, on this card, given this presentation, I kind of like that because it doesn't need to be anything more. On this particular card, what you really ought to do is if you're going to show off the frame. Make it so the art is not distracting. It just blends in. It's part of the whole experience. And I like that. I think that works. With a lot of Magic cards, the artwork takes center stage and you don't even see the frame after a while because it's just fits into the whole experience. You just look and it's the white space. It's just, oh, Magic card. This is the art. This is what defines what card it is. But with this, when you're looking at the invocations as well as the Kaladesh masterpieces, which were the same kind of setup, the art style was generally different, but it was a similar release. With this particular, with the Amonkhet invocations, the whole card face is its own work of art, and they're clearly going for that. And it is successful, whether you like the design or not. The one thing that I dislike, the only thing that I really dislike about this particular design, one, I don't know that Austere Command made a lot of sense as the white card. I mean, you put Wrath of God in this exact same treatment, I'm game. Because what it would end up happening is that text box that is right now very cluttered, all of a sudden just becomes one line and it just says destroy all creatures. Like that'd be freaking baller. I like that. But anyway, but it's fine. Austere Command is what we got. It is a good card. If you want to talk about a card that is worth getting a premium version of, just in general, that one absolutely fits. It fits the bill nicely. And you better believe Commander players want to get their hands on this. But at the same time, like this version, yeah, as the only issue, the one real issue that I have is how difficult the text is to read. The fact that when you first look at one of these cards, you actually have the moment, like when you look at when you look at a different Magic card, when you look at a more standard Magic card, the first thing you do is your eye immediately scans to the title, and you just read the name. Sometimes if you've seen the artwork a lot, or if you recognize the artwork immediately, you know the name already, and maybe you don't. But in general, you're seeing a card for the very first time, you glance at the artwork, your eyes scan up, you read the name. In this particular instance, you might look at the artwork and then your eye just kind of, like, I don't know about you guys, but like I would kind of scroll up here and like, wait, what is that? Huh? What's happening? And then all of a sudden I'm looking around the whole thing just trying to find the freaking title. And it is there, but it doesn't look like it's there. Like it's kind of hidden away. That's the one thing, like from a functional perspective, that I don't like that. But that's me being a stickler for details, to be fair. At the end of the day, like that said, like if I went to my local game store, assuming there was a time when they were open, or assuming this is months from now when we're allowed to walk into local game stores again, and I just picked up a booster pack and I cracked one of these, I'm gonna be stoked. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's an Amonkhet invocation. Oh no. I'm gonna be like, holy crap, I got a premium rare card. Yeah, this rules. Like, I'm gonna be jazzed because this is worth a lot. And the funny thing is too, I don't know about you guys, but with my collection, like when I crack a really valuable card, I don't want to sell it because I know it's valuable and I want to hang on to it. And then the messed up thing is half the time they don't retain their value. Like I cracked a foil murderous rider when uh Throne of Eldraine was still really new. At the time, that card was it was a foil showcase Murderous Rider. At the time, that card was worth $15 because it was everywhere in standard. It was a great card. Everybody wanted it, and so the special, super awesome premium foil version was like through the roof, sky high. And so I was like, oh, this is great. And here I am thinking, it's an awesome removal spell. It's on a body. This is going to be killer. This thing's never going to lose value. It's awesome. It's great. Woo! What I failed to account for is the fact that so many more booster boxes have been cracked. And as a result, like I checked the price on it the other day and it was going for like 250. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to hang on to this for a while. And I guess like, well, do I have a place I can put this? I'm like, well, I'm going to put this in one of my commander decks, I guess. I guess I'm going to unintentionally bling out my commander deck because I didn't have the fiscal responsibility to just sell something worth money, but whatever. But anyway, so this is one of those where if I got my hands on this, you better believe that I would just work it into one of my decks. Um, Actually, if I got my hands on this, I have a Teneb deck I would probably fit it into. A Teneb deck that is going to become a Nethroi deck the moment I get my hands on a Nethroi. You better believe it. Um, yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is the kind of board wipe that in EDH you definitely want. It's a premium version of it. So regardless of what you think of the frame, it's pretty cool. Um, I would love to get my hands on one of these. And I also just in general would love to get my hands on premium showcase versions of cards. They're great. And I think it's a real shame that they're no longer in booster packs, but there are a ton of other content creators who are banging that drum really, really loudly right now, and I would highly recommend you check them out. Um, specifically, Pleasant Kenobi and Tolarian Community College. If you're not on those channels, definitely check them out. Yeah, and reprint Fetchlands, you cowards. All right, guys. Thank you very much. You guys are my favorite people. I'll catch you next time.